Hi, this is Dr. Jennifer Freed, and welcome to In Your Element, where I highlight the leaders in the field and we talk to them about meaningful things through the elements. That way you can learn to love them more. And today I'm thrilled to have Dr. Becky Kennedy because she's a clinical psychologist. She's the founder of Good Inside, and she's the mom of three. But I got to meet her, and she's a very humble human being, a very diligent person. And I think she's got the best advice for parents that I've seen in very clear and concise and loving language. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, that is the kindest introduction. Thank you.
Is there anything you want people to know, like about when your book comes out?
Oh, sure. My book comes out September 13th. It's called Good Inside, a guide to becoming the parent you want to be. And what I can promise is it's actionable. It's full of strategies you can learn and use right away and scripts. And it won't make you feel bad about yourself for things you've done that you don't feel good about, because I've done those things too as a parent. So there's no perfection. There's just things that end up feeling better to us. And that's really what the book is all about.
Thank you. Okay, we'll jump right in. The first is a fire question. Becky, what fuels your inner fire?
What fuels my inner fire? Conversation, learning. I love talking to people about anything. I love learning about them. I love learning about their families. I love talking about hot topics, and I love speaking kind of live in that way, whether it's just an intimate conversation or in a large group, because I truly think my best thoughts and new thoughts when I'm in conversation with someone. So I find conversations like these just like really enlivening.
So how do you stay grounded with your big reach and your influence? How do you stay grounded?
Um, it might relate to that fire question, right? I love learning about people, and I love thinking about complex things. That's honestly always what drove me. And I never intended to have a big Instagram account. I had done all this writing, and one day my husband said, either it lives on your computer or you actually share it with someone. And so I just started it on a whim. And the thing that always drove me there and to the book and to our membership platform was just having conversation with parents and hearing what they needed and thinking about new opportunities and thinking about new ideas. And so I'm really I really mean this. I'm really addicted to that process more than I am to like any specific outcome or kind of product. So I think the things that get us not so grounded are when we really gaze out and look for things instead of, I don't know, like gaze in and notice what's happening inside of us. And at least for this part of my career, I feel like there's so much happening inside that's grounding. Plus I have my kids who, roll their eyes at me.
Three
And
kids will keep you grounded in
yes.
more ways than one. Okay, is there any core guiding principle that guides your life?
Yes, and it sounds cheesy, but I don't think it's obvious at all. It's really the whole name, that like we are inherently good inside. You are, your kids are, and that we're all doing the best we can with the resources we have available in that moment. And so when we struggle on the outside, we remain good inside, and that gap between how we're doing out there, which might be not so good in certain behavior, and how we're doing in here, which is always good. To me, that gap is where I get most curious, or I think, oh, why is someone who's so good doing this thing? Why are they yelling? Why are they having a tantrum? And that's where I think we can activate curiosity and get creative and come up with interesting ideas and approaches. So that's really what guides me.
This is a water question. What melts your heart?
What melts my heart? Um, you know, Watching my kids, I think a little bit from afar, like can melt my heart. Just watching them create things, like thinking about my son, like working on a puzzle really hard and taking a deep breath and like figuring it out. Watching them do something that they love, like watching them like be their own person and figure things out. That's very, very melty for me.
Great. What outrages you?
Oh, what outrages me? Um, the message that women don't deserve to have their own wants and needs and space. That really outrages me.
And then what calms you down?
Mm. My husband is a major anchor in my life. He can always just make me feel safe in the moment. A hug calms me down. Uh, Yoga, if I'm not too revved up, will calm me down. If I'm too revved up, no way, it's not touching me. But like a meaningful conversation, feeling seen by someone I feel safe with.
And who or what do you go to for inspiration?
So many things. I find parents like really inspirational, all of them. I mean, raising kids is so hard and we're so awfully prepared. And there's a message out there that we should just know how to do it, even though none of us know how to do things that are really, really hard that we've never done before. And I find it really inspirational, all these cycle breaking parents who are saying, I'm going to be the generation who does things differently, and I'm going to take on that weight and give what I think is the best gift to our kids, the gift of wiring that kind of supports confidence and healthy development. And those parents are working so hard, and I find them very inspiring.
Where I completely agree with you, having worked in education and working with parents my whole life too. Two hardest jobs in the world, parenting and teaching, most underpaid, most underrepresented. So I too find great inspiration from the courage of parents like yourself. All right. What makes you cry?
Mm. Feeling alone, worrying too much about things in the future that I can't impact, and kind of just spiraling into that could get vulnerable, and a lot of tears.
Yeah, I think a lot of us go to tears right now when we feel overwhelmed and lost with the enormity of the challenges before us.
Yes.
Okay, next question. What creative project are you most proud of?
Creative project. I mean, I think right now what's coming to mind is this membership platform we've created. I think that we've heard from parents over and over that they want things, they need things to feel supported, they need access to resources they trust, they need some expert guidance here and there to hone their skills, and they really, really need each other in kind of a global community of parents who share their values. And I remember hearing these three things over and over and over. And then as my Instagram account got bigger, I was like, wow, I keep hearing these same three things from people around the world. And one day, me and my friend, who's now my co-founder, she's like, let's build it. Let's like make it. We could have used this. We could still use it. Let's make it and bring it to life. And now it's in the world. So I feel, and it keeps iterating with, again, always the input from parents. So it's such a creative process to continue bringing to life.
It is. And that brings me to the next question, because one of the things I know about the greatest influencers and leaders, they've all had big failures and they risk things to become things. So what is one of the worst failures that taught you the most?
What is one of the worst failures that taught me the most? Maybe I'm struggling with the word failures. It feels so like final, right? But you're saying, what is something that really didn't go my way, that like, right, that taught me?
We can name it whatever you want, but what I know about really powerful leaders, especially women, they didn't get to where they are by everything going perfectly well.
That's exactly right. So, my daughter's my second child, and with my first, he was a kid. He had real feelings and tough times, but there was a little bit of like straightforwardness to raising him. Like I like saw the feelings, I'd set some boundaries, I'd validate him, things would kind of get, a little better. Kind of thought I had this parenting thing down. I'd have people in my practice, they'd say, I'm doing those things, it's not really working out well. And I'd respond kindly, but in the back of my head, I think like, I don't really know if you're doing it right. And then I had my daughter, and I was like, oh my goodness, wow. Like I know I'm doing the same things. And she basically is escalating in the same moments. My son would find something very soothing, like what the heck? And there were, months of feeling like, I don't know what I'm doing. And, how do I parent a child who clearly has a lot going on, but I don't know how to meet her needs, or I have to do it in a different way. And she's someone I call now like a deeply feeling kid. And I came up with this whole way of thinking about and conceptualizing and working with deeply feeling kids. They're kids who are just more porous to the world. And so they feel things more deeply. And I always say you can't go in their front door. Like they reject you. They're very hyper vigilant, but you got to find the side door because they need the same support, probably even more. And that group of parents, I did a workshop. I was like, oh, let's see if there's other people who have kids like this. And it sold out in a second. It is now the biggest group in our membership. And over, I really do hear from people like, this is the first time I've ever understood my kid. This is the first time I feel hopeful. This is the first time I've seen evidence of things helping, because I now see my kid as a good kid having a hard time, not like a bad kid doing all these bad things. And that all came from really struggling with my daughter. So that's what comes
and that's the point I want to make in that question is our greatest gifts come from what appears like a failure or a setback if we keep working it. And you did that. Next question. What does your most loving inner voice say to you when you're having a really hard time?
A couple things. I'll say, that voice will say, I'm enough. Just over and over, I'm enough. I'll say, I am safe. And then I'll have a little bit more of a personified voice, like the me now, maybe talking to that, kind of inner child, saying like, Becky, you're not alone. I'm right here. You're having a hard time. It's okay. I'm here.
Yeah, I appreciate not just what you're saying, but your tone of voice changed, which was really beautiful, like the loving mother voice that we did or didn't get when we were growing up. But thank you for showing the way you talk to yourself. Okay, last question. When you say, I love you, what do you really mean?
Like, I see you. I see you and your wholeness and your uniqueness and like your difference from me, right? I think about maybe saying that to my kids, and I just love how they're like such their own person. So yeah, like there's like a distance to that connection. Like I see you, you're you. I think that's probably what I mean.
When you say that, I think of a whole embrace of somebody's totality, that you have that capacity of love.
Try. Some days are better than others.
Thank you so much. And you've been watching In Your Element. And if you want to learn more about all your elements and how to live a fully expressed life, please go to jenniferfreed.com and order my new book, A Map to Your Soul.